Yosemite National Park. The challenge of park preservation and visitor experiences. A presentation for everyone interested in Yosemite. One of the challenges national parks face is they will no longer be the same as they once were. Humans and environmental factors are the biggest issues changing our national parks. Yosemite National Park is not immune to this crisis. In Yosemite, people, climate, and geology factors are affecting the natural conservation and activities within the park. Yosemite National Park is in the western Sierra Nevada region of California. The name Yosemite, meaning killer in Mayak, originally referred to the name of a renegade tribe that was driven out by the California militia called the Mariposa Battalion. Before then, the area was called Ahwahnee, Big Mouth, by indigenous people. President Abraham Lincoln's signing of the Yosemite Grant first protected the area in 1864. Yosemite National Park was created in 1890 and is one of the world's oldest nature preserves. Yosemite National Park is best known for its waterfalls, glaciers, mountains, deep valleys, meadows, giant sequoia trees, and a vast wilderness area covering nearly 748,000 acres, or about 1,200 square miles. The U.S. National Park Service manages Yosemite National Park. Approximately 4 million people visit Yosemite each year and spend the majority of their time in a 5.9 square mile area called Yosemite Valley. The park set a visitation record in 2016, surpassing 5 million visitors for the first time in its history. Yosemite National Park experiences very large volumes of visitors to the park during the summer months. This can strain resources and delay visitor activities in the park. The negative attributes that the park encounters are extremely high visitor concentrations, resulting in extended traffic delays, extremely limited parking, busy trails, and no lodging or campground availability. Visitors can expect delays of an hour or more at the entrance stations and up to 2 to 3 hours in Yosemite Valley. These factors contribute to the park staff being extremely busy and stretched beyond their means. The staff has to appropriately oversee and assist visitors throughout the day. This can lead to damage of the park's natural state along with safety concerns for the visitors. People who either intentionally or unknowingly harm the park's resources can do damage that can have a lifelong impact. Activities such as feeding or approaching wildlife, hunting animals, collecting reptiles and butterflies, collecting plants, including pine cones, picking up archaeological or historical items such as arrowheads, having possession of metal detectors or using them to locate and collect historic objects, driving vehicles into sensitive meadows and off roadways, camping outside of designated campgrounds, using weapons, and possessing or using marijuana, including medical marijuana, can have a negative effect on the park's pristine and natural state. Animals in the park are wild, but many are accustomed to people because they have been fed so often. It is illegal to feed any animal in Yosemite Park. Feeding animals contributes to poor nutrition, ill health, and alteration of behavior patterns. Visitors who get too close or feed animals may also be bitten, scratched, or otherwise injured, or become ill themselves. The most important geologic force shaping Yosemite Valley today is rock falls. Although rock falls are relatively uncommon, several rock falls occur in Yosemite Valley each year. They are dangerous and can cause injury or death. Visitors must be mindful of rock falls when they are in rockfall areas. While the National Park Service actively studies rockfall hazards, it is impossible to monitor every potential rockfall area to know when a fall will precisely take place. Visitors can enter these areas without park officials knowing and get hurt or cause premature rock falls. These rock falls are changing the landscape of the park. If someone were to get hurt, it would negatively affect the park's reputation. In 2016, there were 16 fatalities at the park. This is about average. The causes of death range from drowning to falls to the plague. Disease, insects, soil moisture, wind, fire, and snow, combined with human activities, create hazardous conditions for trees in Yosemite. The National Park Service tries to identify and remove hazardous trees. However, trees cannot always be immediately identified and removed. Property damages totaling nearly $1 million also occur annually. Because of the vast wilderness and limited resources, it is nearly impossible for the Park Service to remove every potentially dangerous tree. Human factors such as erosion, disease, fire, and destruction can lead to negative consequences that severely affect the park. People visiting Yosemite National Park is not all negative. Yosemite tourism created $686,339,500 in economic benefits to the area in 2016. Its popularity is known worldwide and helps support 7,883 jobs in the local area. It provides $10 for every dollar invested. It employs between 800 to 1,200 people throughout the year, creating a living for many families. With over 5 million visitors per year, the prestigious natural beauty of the park, along with the economic benefit to the region, must remain in balance to support the area and protect its natural state. The geology of Yosemite National Park consists of granite rocks with remnants of older rocks. About 10 million years ago, the Sierra Nevada was uplifted and then tilted to form its relatively gentle western slopes and the more dramatic eastern slopes. The uplift increased the steepness of stream and riverbeds, resulting in formation of deep, narrow canyons. About 1 million years ago, snow and ice accumulated, forming glaciers at the higher alpine meadows that moved down the river valleys. The ice thickness in Yosemite Valley may have reached a depth of 4,000 feet during the early glacial period. The ice masses cut and sculpted the U-shaped valley. There are small amounts of volcanic igneous rocks in Yosemite. The basalt flows, latite tuff, and latite lava flows can be found. on the surfaces and in the soil in this area. According to Wiki, during the Precambrian and early Paleozoic eras, sediment from continental sources was deposited in shallow water. These rocks metamorphosized and became the base of the Sierra Nevada region. Heat generated from the Farallon Plate, subducting below the North American Plate, contributed to this formation. This led to the creation of volcanoes on the west coast of Proto-North America between the late Devonian and Permian periods. Later volcanism in the Jurassic period covered these rocks in what may have been magnetic activity associated with early stages of creation of the Sierra Nevada batholith. 90% of the rocks were eventually removed by uplifting and moved by erosion. The first phase of regional platonism started 210 million years ago in the late Triassic period and continued throughout the Jurassic period to about 150 million years ago. This was directly part of the creation of the Sierra Nevada batholith, and the resulting rocks were mostly granitic. These rocks are about 6 miles below the Earth's surface. The second major Platon emplacement phase lasted from about 120 million to 80 million years ago during the Cretaceous period. Starting 20 million years ago in the Cenozoic era and lasting until 5 million years ago, a now extinct extension of the Cascade Range Mountains erupted, bringing large amounts of igneous material in the area. These igneous deposits blanketed the region north of Yosemite. Volcanic activity persisted past 5 million years BC, east of the current park borders in the Mono Lake and Long Valley areas. Starting 10 million years ago, vertical movement along the Sierra Fault started to uplift the Sierra Nevada. This tilting of the Sierra block and the resulting acceleration uplift of the Sierra Nevada increased the flow of the western streams. The streams consequently ran faster and cut their valleys more quickly. Additional uplift occurred when major faults developed to the east. Uplift of the Sierra accelerated again about 2 million years ago during the Pleistocene epoch. The uplifting and increased erosion exposed granite rocks in the area to surface pressures, resulting in exfoliation and rounding shapes of the domes in the park and mass wasting following the numerous fracture joints in the mountains. The Pleistocene epoch glaciers further accelerated this process. The larger glaciers transported the dirt from the valley floors, cutting new gorges and river valleys. Numerous vertical joint planes controlled where and how fast erosion took place. Most of these long, linear, and very deep cracks trend northeast or northwest. They were created by uplift-associated pressure release and by unloading of overlaying rock through erosion. Glaciers changed the region starting about 2 to 3 million years ago and ended sometime around 10,000 BC. At least 4 major glaciers have occurred in the Sierra Nevada area. These are called the Sherwin, Tahoe, Tenaya, and Tioga glaciers. The Sherwin glaciers were the largest, filling Yosemite and other valleys, while smaller glaciers formed later. A Sherwin-age glacier was responsible for the major excavation and shaping of the Yosemite Valley and other canyons in the area. Glacial systems reach depths of up to 4,000 feet in the Yosemite area. The longest glacier in the Yosemite area ran down the Grand Canyon of the Tuolumne River for 60 miles. Merce Glacier flowed out of Yosemite Valley and into the Merce River Gorge. The Lee Vining Glacier carved Lee Vining Canyon and emptied into Russell Lake. Only the highest peaks, such as Mount Dana and Mount Conness, were not covered by glaciers. Retreating glaciers often left recessional moraines that affected Lake Yosemite. Today, the Lyell Glacier is the largest glacier in Yosemite National Park. It is on the north slope of Mount Lyell. In the 1900s, the glacier split into 2 smaller glaciers. It is believed the glacier has reduced in size by about 70% since 1883. In 2013, a study determined that Lyell Glacier is no longer a glacier because it does not move. It is now just considered an ice field. Yosemite Falls is just one of the waterfalls in the park. These falls were formed by glacial runoff cutting grooves into the landscape millions of years ago. Today they continue to flow from glacial melt and rain and snow runoff. The geology of Yosemite is dynamic and has been occurring for millions of years. Preserving its nature and natural pristine is challenging with current resources and millions of annual visitors. The balance between preservation, visitor experience, and economic revenue is a delicate balance at Yosemite. Visitors have a responsibility and a role to help preserve the park for millions of years to come.